No, you won't. The little part on top of the waterline says, I got a good wife and children. I got to leave Mary alone. You know the rest of the story. You know who's the boss. You know, the little part on top says African Americans earn $400 billion. It would be good if we could come together and spend 1% of that in one place. That would give us $4 billion a year. That's more money than most countries have. You see? That will solve our problems. $4 billion a year, we could fund every single program that we need to fund and still have money left over to take care of indigent white people. But then that part beneath the waterline says, no, you won't. You see? That part on top of the waterline says, we must unite. We want to unite. But the forces of disunity is down here in that big part beneath the waterline. You like the person who knows what to do behind the wheel of a car, but you don't know how to get down underneath the hood of the car. You know what I'm saying? To fix it when it stops on you. Because you have no insight as to what all those wires and tubes and things are all about. Now, let's talk about those wires, those tubes, those nuts, and those bolts. You see? If you try to look into, if you try to go through the real baptism, meaning submerge your consciousness beneath the waterline, to look into, discover what is it that makes you the way you are. If you try to use the European concepts, you know, subconscious mind, id, ego, you know, super ego, and so forth, you are going to end up no better than Sigmund Freud. Don't read a man's theory, read his biography. When a man comes to you and tells you, I want to teach you how to control yourself, how to understand yourself, read his biography. Biography, I mean. When a man tells you, I want to give you religion, read his history. Uh-oh. Is it? Now, our ancestors were the masters of withdrawing consciousness from above the waterline and taking it down into the underworld, to do what? The subconscious. You see? To discover what is it that was beneath that beneath that line, that water line. They want to find out what are those things that make us the way we are. You see, we concentrated on understanding self because we believe that the genius of the nation should be dedicated to making a better human being. There are people, other people, who take all the genius of the nation to make a better mousetrap, or a better computer, or a better car. This is a better thing. Not a better person, but a better thing. And then you fall into the trap of defining civilization by the ability to make a better thing. You see? I have seen the future according to the white man. It is the year 4000 AD in a galaxy far, far away. You know, traveling at warp speed. Still victimized by anger, lust, killing, murdering. You know what I'm saying? The white man, you know, dream of the world 4,000 years from now hasn't progressed one step ahead of the animalism. Come on now. I do not want to go that way. When it says integration, has to integrate into what? People walk up to me and jack me up after I finish a lecture. Shadrach, you've been talking about all these words of powers and these spiritual things and about God. What about guns? I said, guns don't kill people. Guns don't liberate people. People have to use guns. If they're going to use guns, it is people who liberate people, not guns. So if you want to liberate yourself before you reach for guns or not, maybe you may have to do these things. I don't know. But you first have to understand yourself. You see? So let us understand ourselves. Let us understand why is it that we earn $400 billion and can't spend, 1% of 1% of that in one place. That's sad. That is sad. Because you see, if we already earn $400 billion, we're already liberated. We're already free. If we earn, meaning if we need to call what we earn, you see, the black GNP. That will make us put us in the top 10 leading countries in the world. And nobody has put a gun to our head and say, hey, don't spend 1% of it in one place. And you know something? We spend about 10% of it on tobacco. We spend 10% on it on something that somebody went out and killed 100 million of us and enslaved us to grow tobacco. And we spend 10%. We spend, you follow what I'm saying, $40 billion a year on something that was used to enslave us. We spend about 20% of that on alcohol. That's why they snatched us out of Africa, to grow sugar, to make booze, to grow tobacco, and things of that nature. You see, we don't have a civil rights problem in America. We don't have a human rights problem in America. We have a spiritual problem. It is true that there are separation. It is true that the man is wicked. But we got the power to liberate ourselves. We have already been liberated ourselves, but we don't know how to take advantage of our liberation. That is what we have to understand. Why can't we even realize that we are already liberated? Because, you see, understanding is controlled by the subconscious. You see? You can look at something day in and day out until the subconscious throws up to you the association, you won't understand what you see. You see? Now, let's move on. Your spirit, if you don't study the spirit and somebody asks you about the spirit, you can't break it down. If you ask the African, what is ear? He says, well, they don't know what ear is. Ear is ear. If you ask the European, what is ear? He said, well, it's so much percentage carbon dioxide, so much percentage nitrogen, so much percentage oxygen, and oxygen does so and so, and nitrogen does so and so, and carbon dioxide does so and so, and then there are these inert gases, and he gives you a whole numerical breakdown of what air is. You go, wow, the man studied air. He can break it down. You ask an African, what is water? Well, water is water. You ask a European, what is water? He can break it down. 2 molecules of hydrogen, 1 of oxygen. Hydrogen does so-and-so, oxygen does so-and-so, has a molecular weight of so-and-so, atomic weight of so-and-so. He can break it down by the numbers. He can tell you what air is composed of, what water is composed of. You ask the European, what is the spirit? He says, spirit is spirit. The same way we can't break down air because we haven't studied it, the same way he cannot break down spirit because he hasn't studied it. You have to understand these things. Otherwise you fall into serious traps. You end up falling a child when it comes to religion. The white man, I define religion in my literature, and I've told